Welcome back to Dragon Army Books. My name is Dustin, and I read a lot of books, I play a lot of video games, and a really exciting crossover has just occurred between one of my favorite fantasy book series called Mistborn and arguably the most popular game in the world right now of Fortnite. I'm sure you've seen the new skin by now. The purpose of this video is not to show you any of the mechanics of how the character in-game works, but to give you, the gamer, a little bit of an overview of the character Kelsier himself so that you can know a little bit more about the backstory, the lore, and the world from which this new Fortnite character came from. For starters, Mistborn is a fantasy trilogy including The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. Kelsier is not the protagonist, but he is one of the main characters in the series. In fact, he is the primary mentor of the protagonist, a young girl named Vin, and he is also the crew leader of a gang who is gearing up to overthrow the Final Empire. The magic system in this series is complex, to say the least, but what you need to know is simply that Kelsier is a Mistborn. That allows him to have access to all of the unique and individual powers within the world from which he comes from. So in the story, by swallowing various trace metals and elements, he can do things like increase his physical strength, speed, and durability. He can inflame the emotions of those around him. He can pull on nearby sources of metal, and he can also push on nearby sources of metal. This actually allows Kelsier to, quote-unquote, fly around by pulling and pushing on various pieces of metal around him, under him, above him. That's also why in one of these images he has coins, because he uses those, one, as weapons in the story. As a coin shot, he can push against those coins and they'll fly as projectiles at enemies, or he can throw them on the ground and launch himself off of those high up into the air. The cape that he's wearing is called a mist cloak, and it allows him to be obscured as he travels at night through these mists that are pervasive in the city that he lives. The various strands of fabric are probably pretty much just because it looks cool and no one had previously done that in fantasy, but also they are meant to be as lightweight as possible so that they don't drag down their users in combat or in flight. You might have noticed in one of the skins that Kelsier has scars all along his arms. Well, he had previously been injured when he was sent to the pits of Hathsin. It is this place where prisoners go to mine this precious metal for the Dark One, for the Lord Ruler. And as punishment for being caught for one of his earlier crimes, he was sent to these mines where he was supposed to die, but he didn't. As far as the hemalurgic spikes that are the back bling for Kelsier, they are exactly what they look like. They are these massive spikes that are actually pierced through the eyes of some of the quote-unquote bad guys in the world. I'm imagining Kelsier might have beaten one of those enemies. They're called Steel Inquisitors, and ripped out their spikes through their eye sockets, and now he wears them on his back. And then the harvesting tools, the volcanic glass daggers, these are probably just a reference to the obsidian, I believe, daggers that Kelsier and Vin used as weapons in the story. They didn't use volcanic glass daggers, but that sounds cooler. All in all, Kelsier is an amazing character. He's brash, he's bold, and he's a great leader, not only of his crew and not only of Vin, but of all the people that look up to and follow him. If you haven't yet checked out the Mistborn series, please do. It is an incredible series, but really anything by author Brandon Sanderson is worth your time. And as always, thank you so much for watching and liking this video. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army, and enjoy gaming.